Welcome, everyone. This is Pineleaf Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Terry Edwin.
Hi.
Ariendis.
Hey, everybody.
Maven.
Hey, y'all.
And Sanswinda.
Hello.
And Buddha.
And Buddha, apparently. And this is set on Friday, May 23rd, June 23rd, on Friday, June 23rd, which is this coming Friday. If all goes well, we'll have our first look at Update 21, Mordor. On
Wow.
Mordor.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, super exciting news. We are hopefully going to get a peek at Update 21 on Boror next weekend.
Yes.
I'm so excited. So excited.
Yes. And we don't know all that is going to be on this yet because it all depends on what is ready for the build. Because if they look like it says, we don't want to show them this, then they're not going to include it in the build. Because if they think that the elf, that, for example, if the high elf looks like to them that they wouldn't want to play it in that state, then obviously I don't think they're going to be planning on foisting it on us yet.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But in anything I think that they feel is ready, except for the epic storyline, because as recent tradition has noted, it's unlikely that that is going to be available for preview.
Right.
Right, so they have to wait until it goes live before we can start spell checking it.
Before we can start spell checking the epic storyline. Right. But we will expect to be able to peek into Mordor, at least through the Black Gate, and maybe visit Mount Doom and other such places. Hopefully we'll have a chance to see the new avatars, if at least some of them are ready, we hope. And perhaps some of the quests will already be online. And perhaps see what they have in store for us for when you start going in facing landscape creatures that are level 106 and start going whack on you. So anyone else have anything they want to say about this?
I know somebody had asked if we could have screenshots of the high elves, and it's like, dude, you'll get screenshots of the high elves when the rest of us can see them on Boror.
Yeah. Yeah, we certainly can't get them yet. And there is going to be a preview.
But really, they're elves.
Yeah. There is going to be a preview video on the Thursday stream by Cordovan, where they are going to show a few things in there. They're going to avoid having too many spoilers in there. But obviously, by its nature, at least a couple of things are going to be spoiled by what they're going to be showing you there. And that's going to be based on an internal build, so therefore what Cordovan has doesn't necessarily going to be exactly what we'll be seeing. So let's head into the LOTRO Beacon. And this weekend we have the Shire Fest. It is still running at this time, and there'll be another day on Sunday. So that is this weekend on Crick Hollow. If you are listening to this not live, but on the podcast version, then yes, it will already be over.
Aerother got a mention on the Beacon this week.
Ooh.
Yay, Aerother. Nice.
Also, there are new wallpapers for the mobile device and desktop, which I totally took advantage of when they came out, because that's my new phone wallpaper is the Update 16 one.
Ah, okay. And the next thing you said that, oh yes, Anding got a mention for his Epic's for his.
Yeah, but Ant-Man gets mentioned like every other week.
Yeah, I guess you got a point there. You got a point. Some people get all the mentions. And anything else? Oh, tips for learning LOTRO points in game. Oh yeah, that was it. That is useful for, at least, especially for the free people, or the.
It's useful for those of us that don't have stockpiles.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't have stockpiles of LOTRO points, it's useful for. I guess you got a point with that.
Yeah, I think I saw that video somewhere. I think he got something like 85 turbine points in half an hour or something like that. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah. I think it's Aaron Lewin and Slayer Deeds.
Yeah, that is a favorite on getting them quickly. And this week's screenshot of the week is a night shot of the house of Tom Bombadil.
Which is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's Tom's house with Bingo standing outside of it.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to see Bingo because it's night.
It's actually not that hard if you know that he's there. That straw hat does not blend into anything.
Yeah, if you do a full size, because when I was looking at it in the smaller size.
Oh, I can see it in the smaller size even.
Oh, okay. Now I can see it. I think is that it's one of those things that if you don't know it's there, your eye could easily pass over it. So
yeah, until you said it was there, I didn't see it.
Yeah. So let's head into our weekly comment. Which town would you want to live in game?
I can't pick just one. But I think we deserve a house in Hypold, especially if you've gone through all the trouble of restoring Hypold. You should totally be allowed to live there.
Anyone who has completed all of Hypold should be able to get
to buy a house in Hypold. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And have servants.
And I really kind of want the house in Edoras. I mean, you could clean that up. Clean that up and make it a cozy little house.
Oh, yes, that house in Edoras. After all, we do have the deed to it.
That's right.
If you completed that quest line and have the deed to it, yeah.
I think I'd have to go with Dol Amroth after all my sailing years. I'd have to have just a small little place. Doesn't have to be big. Just a little place overlooking the ocean, seagulls. Awesome.
A Dol Amroth house that doesn't look like a bank vault.
Yeah, well, that would be a challenge.
Okay, so when you're saying Dol Amroth, you don't mean the Bay of Belfalis.
I don't mean the Bay of Belfalis bank vaults. I do not.
No, I mean a small place actually in the city itself. It could be a studio.
Yeah, like a little apartment thing.
Yeah.
There's plenty of room.
Maybe overlooking the pier, or either that, or overlooking the cliffs.
Or the Harper's Court.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Harper's Court. There you go.
That would be really cool.
Okay, you guys have now lost me. Thinking about what it would be like.
Yes. I have a feeling that one place I would like to avoid for a little while is Minas Tirith, at least until it's been restored.
Yeah. Well, I'd lag too much. I'd be lagging. I'd go out to go shopping, groceries. I'd be lagging the whole time.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
just be stuck in place for hours.
Yeah, I'd be stuck. I'd go link lost. It'd be awful.
All the frozen stuff would melt, and it would just be awful.
Yeah, that's right. I'd come back, everything would be like a puddle. That's stressful urban living. I don't think I could deal with it.
Then let's go and see what's on sale this week.
Well, this week's free sample is a plus 100% mark acquisition for 90 minutes with the coupon code MOREMARKS, MORMARKS. Also, 25% off the Runekeeper and Warden classes, character slots, and Slayer Deed boosts. Wonder why just Runekeeper and Warden and not OP Furballs.
It is. Bjorning is on sale.
It is OP
right now.
Furballs too.
Yep.
It's not mentioned in the beginning. It's not mentioned in our
It's interesting, actually. It's more expensive. Oh, you're going to love this. You're going to love this. So normally a Warden is $7.95, I think it is, and it's on sale for $5.96. Normally a Bjorning is $1,000. It's on sale for $7.50.
Is that just the bear?
Yes.
Is that just the bear, or is that the bear and character slot combo?
Oh, transfer. It might be the bear and character slot combo. Since I have, let's see. Bjorning's channel. Let's see. Does it say? Bjorn? It doesn't say.
It should say in the description.
Between Man and Bear, Bjorning's channel, their wrath. It just describes their blah 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 blah. Fulfill the role of damage tank, healer, and support. Doesn't say actually. That's interesting. Does it say it on Warden? No. Huh. I don't know. That's a good question.
I'll have to log into my free-to-play account and find out.
Yeah. I'm wondering, since they have bonus character slots on sale, maybe they are not. It's not both the class and the slot. I don't know. Anyway,
Maybe that's why the Furball is coming up at that price. Is it's the one with the character slot included in the character slot?
Oh, that's possible. Sure. Yep. That could be. That's got to be it. It can't be that the Bjorning is worth more than a Warden or Runekeeper. No, actually, it's not. The Bjorning plus character slot bundle is also on sale, and it's usually $12.95, and it's on sale for $9.71.
Oh, okay.
So much of that hypothesis.
Okay, moving right along.
Let's get ahead.
I didn't want to. I think I upset Terry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
I'm kidding.
I'm just confused as to why the Furballs are so much more expensive than the other character classes.
Exactly.
Because they're OP.
Yeah. That's right.
OP Furballs are OP.
Because you're getting a healer and a tank and a support and a DPS all in one Furball.
Well, because the Furball is limited to the single race, which is the Bjorning race, Bjorning class. Warden can be a number of races, and so can, Runekeeper can be 2 different races. So you would think that
they're more flexible.
Furball would be cheaper.
Absolutely, you think?
It just seems weird.
It does. You're right.
So they want to keep the population of furballs down.
Oh yes, so people would buy less of them.
Well, obviously that hasn't worked.
Let's head into the site news, and we'll begin with the community events for June 16th through 22nd. And is there anything exciting happening this week other than Shirefest?
Apparently not.
I don't remember. I didn't read it.
Yeah, I think that is pretty much the big thing. And of course, most of the stuff is going to be over with, unfortunately, before they're done on there. Now, remember that the community events calendar does go into more detail of everything, and it also includes a link to a community calendar for each of the various servers. So let's head into LOTRO Academy, episode 141, Volume 1 Review, Part 1, because you can't fit Volume 1 into just one podcast. And this is the epic storyline.
Well, we barely got through book 1.
Yeah, we barely got through it.
Have you guys gone back since then? Have you finished volume 1 yet?
We have not. We're halfway through. We have a second episode recorded that needs to be edited.
Right, where I think we got up to the original.
Up to the halfway point. So we managed to do 7 books in the following episode.
Oh, okay.
Though to be fair, we started with the tutorial.
And then the
prologue.
And then
the prologue.
Oh, intro,
yeah,
and
the prologues.
We did cover an awful lot, but yeah, we barely made it through book 1. It was a good discussion, though.
It was.
Yeah, see how much of it we all remembered.
Basically.
You wanted me to do what? Oh.
I love the screenshot that he got for the cover art.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, appropriate.
It was fitting.
Completely appropriate.
Kill Stiller.
Stupid kill-stealing Tom Bombadil.
And of course, that brings you all the way up to right about when you hit level 20. So what do you do after you hit level 20? Well, skirmishes, of course.
If you're Pine Leaf.
So Andang posted. Okay, if you're Pine Leaf. Then Andang thus posted a video asking the question, what is your favorite skirmish?
Yes, and as with all of these questions, I want to remind people that the discussion is not actually on this article on LOTRO Players. It is over on the YouTube video on Andang's channel.
Yes, but we always get a reply on.
We always get... We actually only have one this time, but usually we get several.
All right.
So
therefore, I guess there is the question. Anyone wish to answer this question?
well, my favorite skirmish is Strike Against Dananglore.
Strike Against Dananglore. Even...
Yeah, Strike Against Dananglore is the one that I can do in under 3 minutes.
Ah! And at what setting do you usually do Dananglore?
Tier 1. Well, I can get through it in under 3 minutes on Tier 1.
Tier 1 solo?
Tier 1 solo.
Yeah, okay. So you do avoid the...
Tier 2 duo I can do about 6 minutes.
In 6 minutes. So therefore you're able to survive the fire backlash you can get on the...
Yeah. Because it doesn't get really nasty until it's Tier 3 or a 3-man.
Yeah, I guess you do have a point there because they did scale it back in duos. So yes, that's the... So therefore, Dananglore, assuming you're staying below the we will kill all champions threshold that happens when you start to get into the threes.
No, just take an herbalist, you're fine.
Yeah, just take it over. How about you, Maven?
I don't know. I was trying to think. I kind of have a soft spot for the two offensive early ones. Tuckborough and Bree. It seems like those are kind of my defaults when I go in. I need to get XP or I just need to get some marks or whatever. Those seem to be the two that I gravitate toward. Probably just because I know them better than anything else, I would imagine.
Oh, that does help.
Yeah. So I can kind of run them. I did do a lot of, oh God, now I can't remember. Not Stormethedrus, the other one in Forakel.
Icy Crevasse.
Icy Crevasse. Yeah, I did a lot of that on my lore master to farm medallions. So I know that one pretty well. But I would only do that as a solo because as soon as you add one other person, that end boss is like, forget it.
That end fight, turns into a
oh my god.
mess.
Well, it's kind of the same thing with Thievery and Mischief too. Although that's still okay when you've got a duo going.
Yeah, with duo and trio, I find it's fine.
Yeah,
it's
it's
when
not
you get
bad.
to 6
Yeah.
where that one starts to
Yeah.
turn against
But
you.
Icy Crevasse, it's like forget it. Just add one more person and forget it.
My problem with Icy Crevasse is I inevitably wind up with that stupid debuff, that frost debuff, that only comes off around certain campfires. And
I
I'm never
know.
anywhere close to one of the campfires that will actually take the debuff off.
I know.
I could
know.
just imagine
So then
someone...
it's hike yourself back to Forakel or find a friendly hunter.
I think that's when Anding was saying, what is your favorite craft profession? And I know you don't do crafting, but I was almost thinking that you might take cook just so you could make campfires.
That's true. Actually, when I was taking my challenge mini through Wildemore, I had sent a bunch of campfire kits to her because she was soloing it.
Yeah.
And every so often would get that frost debuff from one of the Grims. And yeah, you just light up a campfire kit and you're good.
So therefore, we have finally found a use for crafting.
There you go. There you go.
How about sands?
Oh. I like Icy Crevasse.
You like those nice chilly places.
Well, it's pretty, and a hunter with fire oil on just cuts through it like butter.
I can imagine.
So it's kind of pretty. You get lots of good rewards and not overly difficult, besides which you can always make yourself a fire. So
All right. Okay, so hunters with fire oil, then I don't think I've ever thought about using fire oil in that one, have I?
you should totally try it.
You would think, because I have gotten Skirmisher Middle Earth on my hunter, which means that I obviously did icy enough times to.
It might even
Get
work
all the-
well on a warden.
Well, the thing about a warden is that my main weapon is going to be a spear, and spears don't get oil,
Oh.
only the javelins.
Fair enough.
So therefore, I think Ariandis isn't going to have a favorite one yet, right?
Well, I was going to say, out of the 2 or 3 skirmishes I've ever done ever, Trouble in Tuckborough was pretty fun. So we'll call that my favorite until further research can be done.
Until further research, yes. I'm in the process of making a response video, of course, on this, but I'm going to go with Tuckborough, which I'm leaning towards this way because it's in the Shire, and I tend to play Hobbits, so therefore you can see how that works. And you get a glimpse of a time period of the game that we haven't reached yet, because the thing where the Brigands have taken all over the Shire is quite a bit further down on the timeline than anything we've been in so far, because right now we're in late March, and the Brigands are taking over. In this case, because they say it's near harvest, I would say it's either late September or early October, probably. Of later on in that year. And I think I like it because it's a fairly straightforward skirmish, and I think the boss fight scales reasonably well, because there's some of them where the boss fight doesn't seem to scale very well, and there are others where it does. I think it reasonably scales in Tuckborough, where it becomes tougher, but not obnoxiously so as you go up in level. And not a level, I mean, as you increase the size of the group.
That makes sense.
And now, let's head into the family line, part 139, Revelry. It means it's time for a party?
Maybe.
Possibly.
Maybe. But I don't see any pictures of the party tree, so must be. But there are some fireworks. And we also have another entry of the Antipodean writer, Fingolfin's Fall, The Duel. And did somebody want to read this?
I think Horrendous is going to do it.
Sorry, I didn't know if that was still the plan or not.
Definitely.
It is now.
Okay, I'll read it. I'm sorry if I butcher anything, but here we go. Fingolfin stared upwards into the sky, his breathing hard. Still once again he'll try to strike his enemy down. Cold Ringle gleamed like blazing ice, but every movement seemed too slow, so that he moved as in a daze, and every thought was trapped inside a maze of unreality. The Dark Lord? Here, before the gates of Angband, and so near, the realm of pain and unrelenting ire against the Noldor, his twin eyes with fire burned fey in maddened wrath. His body slow, seemed unable to leap aside and go to safety. Then he stumbled, for the mace of Boglir had rent chasms in that place, caused fire and smoke to ascend to the sky. His steed, Rochalor, whinnied. At the cry, Fingolfin risked the glance. His noble steed, still faithful, waited. He would never need his services again. The horse should flee. But Rochalor remained, for willingly he'd hazard everything if his king asked. To ride to Angband he this day was tasked. And he had done so. Now his lifelong charge was ending, and the war horse roamed at large. A massive hill descended from the sky upon Fingolfin before he knew why, or what it was. He slid into a pit as Morgoth's heel descends. So this was it, the end of his mad duel with the Dark Lord. The High King struck a last blow with his sword, and hewed and thrust with every ounce of strength, till at the last, forced down, lying at length, upon the dust with no more room to squirm, both hands on Ringle's hilt still gripping firm, he forced deeper its blade, as Morgoth screamed, and Angband's hills resounded. Then it seemed, before his life crushed out, Fingolfin heard the voices of the Valar speak a word, to say that he'd done well. Fingolfin sighed, and smiled, and then his mortal body died. Morgoth the duel had won, though it had cost him more pain than Fingolfin, who had lost. 7 painful wounds by Ringle still he feels. His power no longer from such wounding heals, and now he limped, was halt, the constant pain, as if the price of winning. Was it gain? Shrugging such thoughts aside, the Dark Lord sought the body of the foe he'd lately fought and slain, to tear and scatter it withal among his wolves. Before this could befall, the late High King, claws slashed his face and marred the Dark Lord's features. Ever after scarred was Morgoth's visage from that fateful day, as Thoronador bore Fingolfin away.
That was awesome.
Well read.
Thank you.
Our next is going to be then Embers of Hope, Chapter 6, Detained in Lake Deep. Once again, not much to say here to avoid spoilers, so you say?
Yeah.
And finally, we have another entry to Poems of the Pine, The Battle of the Pelennor Fields.
Deep breaths, everybody.
Theoden's riders thundered on the field till the King of Rohan met the King of Shadow. All fled the menace that no man could kill, till the Nazgul was slain by the niece of the king. Then Eomer charged into the enemy lines, so the battle raged at a ruinous pace. Our course seemed lost till the Corsair fleet arrived with rangers to rescue our cause. As the battle raged, the ranger Golidir learned of his link to Lorneil's bane. He sought a troll that troubled his friends, then slew the beast and sacrificed his life. With Golidir gone, for Gothmog we sought the foulest foe on the field. Then Aragorn stood firm against the foe of the west, while Gothmog fled in disgrace.
We're snapping. That was also awesome.
Nice. Oh, also potential spoilers, but
Yeah, also,
you know.
yeah.
Well, yeah, this Poems of the Pine tends to have epic storyline spoilers, especially how late we're getting into the storyline now, because Pelennor. And there are only 2 more books left that are currently out. And that means we have a question for a new player. Briandis?
Yes, well, this is just kind of an opinion question. I know that some people, and it's very kind of basic, but I was just kind of curious. I know a lot of people that play the game and hit their skills with the number keys or whichever kind of keystroke they wish to use or that they bind it to. And some people swear by clicking on your skills. I was just kind of curious what you guys do.
Keyboard, all the way.
Like all keyboard, or do you mix it
all
up? All
keyboard.
Okay.
With the exception of a couple of those skills that are triggered at certain points, like the whatever one is at the bottom of the yellow line for champions.
Mm-hmm.
So that there's no real room for it on my bar. So, and that thing gets moved over to a corner, and that's where my mouse cursor generally sits, so that if it pops, I can click it. Because I don't use my mouse hardly at all.
Okay.
Key binding to the point that I've actually run my burglar with the UI turned off.
Good grief.
Because I know what the rotation is and where all of the skills are and what sound cues to listen for in the game when she's got when she scores a crit and so her skills are open. Yeah, I actually have her rotation down to the point where I don't need to look at her skills.
Ladies and gentlemen, Terry Adwin, the Burglar Master.
I would do that with Terry too, except there's no real cue for when your fervor is all the way full. Like if there was a visual cue for when your fervor was all the way full, I could turn my UI off and run Terry.
I wish they would do that. I really do.
That would be really cool.
Whee!
Pine Leaf, what about you?
Yeah, I am mostly mouse. There are some things where I do on the keyboard, mainly the skills that are 1 to 4, maybe occasionally 5 I can do with a key, but if it requires a shift key, control key, or anything like that, absolutely no way in the world am I going to do it on a keyboard.
Okay.
And so therefore, since my right hand is going to be on my mouse, therefore I've only got the left-sided numbers 1 through 4 are the ones I really do. The Warden, this is especially true for because my basic builders and all that stuff are all on those keys on there. I'm trying to do a little bit on the champion with that, and Terry Adwin, I'm sure, could tell me how unsuccessful I am at doing this.
Except I'm behind, so I'm not totally sure where you are in your progress. But yeah, because I made fun of Pine Leaf for clicking his skills.
Yes, and I know people complain that I would tend to be slow by clicking it, but I think I'm almost as slow when I am using the using the keyboard, strangely enough. So that could just be because I just don't have the timing of the champion quite right. So usually I keep on clicking, hitting the same number later on, which before it's cooled off, so therefore I lose the moment on doing that. So it's not like on the Warden where I feel the cadence of when I can use the same number again. Though even then, I sometimes have a slight skill lag. And when I have a slight skill lag, on the Warden, skill lag is a real pain because you hit it. Oh, you thought you hit a builder, and no, it didn't count because of the skill lag was 1/10 of a second slower than it usually is, or something like that. So, yeah. So, yeah, I tend to use the keyboard the mouse for everything except for some basic skills at 1 to 4.
Okay, so we have 1 keyboard, 1 clicker. Maven, what about you?
I am a clicker all the way.
Okay.
Which is why you'll never hear me make any kind of response when Terry talks about. I just don't even go there. Yeah, I do I don't know if it's more than you, but I definitely click everything.
Okay.
Even my Warden skills. which I shouldn't.
Ouch!
I actually do have. Well, I do have on my higher level Warden. I do have the key binds done. I just haven't gotten myself moved over to that memory wise. So I still am doing the button. I'm still doing the clicking. I have them set up. I have my favorite gambits set up already on my skill bars. So I already have each gambit that I like along with the gambit, key all set up. So I just do them in row 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. 1, 2, boom. So I've already got them all set up, but it kind of limits, of course. I mean,
yeah, that limits which ones you can do if you do it that way.
But they work really well, so haven't had a problem. So, but as she levels up, and it's going to give me more options, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah,
because she's what 8? She's 70 something, I think now, and yeah. So I'm going to have to.
Well, 70. When you're 70 something, you have just about all the. I think there are only 1 or 2 more gambits to get after 70 something.
Oh, is there? Okay.
Okay, and Sansona, what about you?
I do a mix. About halfway through the skill bar, I can do pretty easily and do pretty easily on the keyboard. And the right half, I use almost entirely my mouse. Unless I'm really, really, really focused for some reason. Which tends to happen most often on my burglar.
Okay. Are there certain classes that lend themselves better to one way or another, or is it just personal preference?
Warden is very definitely has a bias towards the keyboard. And that's the reason why I use the keyboard a lot more on the Warden, and I mean a whole lot more on the Warden than any other class.
I would think any class that you don't have like a lot of inductions, because Champion, Burglar, Warden, all of those skills fire off instantly, or as close to instantly as it's going to happen in an online game where you've got to deal with internet speed. So the faster you can get those skills queued, the more likely you are to actually get the combos you need. Actually, my Burglar Sarissa can rip through an enemy in about 3 keystrokes.
Really?
Yeah. And that's a level 75 Burg.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and I was just curious. I know that
it's a huge controversy. Huge.
It is.
I mean,
it is.
People will fist fight each other. Click. No. What is it? Click. No.
No. Mash the keys.
Mash. That's it. Mash. No. Click. No. Mash. Yeah. See, Buddhism. Yeah, what can I tell you?
If people actually go back and that's one of the reasons why I took to streaming, is because I was watching other people stream and I'm like, you could do this so much faster if you would just push the buttons. Don't try figuring out where the stuff is with your mouse. Especially for champions. It's next to painful for me to watch people clicking skills on a champion, because it's like, why do that to yourself?
There is absolutely no way in the world I can do it. There's no way in the world I'm going to remember all those key positions and be able to execute them.
I think it was when I was playing a Yellow Line Hunter that I realized that I needed my mouse for placing things where I actually wanted them.
Yeah.
Which affected, to some extent, keeping one hand on the mouse almost constantly.
Oh.
Which is what makes that other side of the keyboard harder to get to.
I find it actually on that particular matter. I find skills that require you to place them, use the mouse to place them down there. I find those rather annoying. And in fact, on many of them, if it says, "Oh, the higher tier of this particular trait allows you to place it anywhere," if I remember to, because sometimes I do forget it, I just skip that last point and go elsewhere, because I'm sorry, I just like it to automatically place it next to my feet. Because it takes me 3 seconds longer to place something if it's not automatically placed at my feet.
Well, this is where having the mouse in a static location on my screen tends to come in handy, because I just put my cursor in about as far away as I'm liable to drop something, and then just double tap the skill. Boom, done.
And I think I mentioned this at the beginning, but I just want to make sure that I touched on it. This was just an opinion question. I was just curious. I don't think there's really a right way or a wrong way to play the game. It's just whatever's more comfortable. So, me personally?
Yeah, you personally. I don't think you answered your own question.
Whoops. I think I do a combination of both. Because I play a champion. For me, it's a little bit easier if I do like the skills that build fervor on just the 1, 2, 3, 4 keys, and then I'll do the rest with the mouse, or sometimes I'll just do all mouse. It kind of just depends on the day and how it goes. So.
All right, then it's time to look at our week in LOTRO. And Terry Adwin, what were you up to?
Well, Lange of Alteri was correctly identified in-game by another player as a well-dressed killing machine.
That is the most accurate thing I think I've heard.
Absolutely,
that's great.
Like the highlight of my week. I was like, so Colton from Floy, who folks may have heard Maven talk about, I happened to run across him in game, and he said something about crafting, and I'm like, yeah, I don't do that. And he said something else, I'm like, yeah, I don't do that either. He said, yeah, I heard that podcast. He said, you're just a well-dressed killing machine. I said, that is absolutely right. So, like, right after he said that, I actually went into show notes and put that as my highlight, because I thought that was the best highlight of the week. That is the most accurate description of Terry Adwin, because then I was showing off, the outfits that I've coordinated with her horses, because if you're going to make matching outfits with horses, why not? She didn't have just one. She has, like, 6. And then I streamed a pub crawl in Gondor. And then, let's see, what else did I do this week? The new Runekeeper that I rolled on Arkenstone last week made it to level 15 during the field trip. And we also I discovered, because I didn't realize that it was why. So I had wondered why the last time Academy folks rolled new characters and got to level 10, they did the Pelargir Epic Battle, because Helmsdike can also be run as a 6-man. Well, it turns out that you can't run Helmsdike as a 6-man unless you've already done the solo duo version, which in my opinion is something that Standing Stone could really look at and maybe change, because that sucks.
Yeah.
And on that note, actually, the rest of them in the Helm's Deep chain, you don't get credit for them. Actually, the same is true of the Minas Tirith ones. You don't get credit for them unless you do them solo duo. So you don't unlock the next ones in the chain unless you do them solo duo instead of like the group versions, which frankly is kind of a really terrible mechanic and should be looked at and fixed. Maybe. Pretty please. Whenever we get that you're busy, Mordor's coming out, we get that. But, when do you have time? Maybe think of going back and taking a look at that. And then I was also going to mention that I did a Paper Doll stream, but I literally just this second got a brand new highlight, which is I completed Bella the Way of Smith's skirmish deed. So I have 1 skirmish left to go for Skirmisher of Middle-earth.
Ooh,
nice.
Left.
21st Hall.
21st. Oh boy, that'll
Nice.
be fun.
So
How
4
many-
encounters in 21st Hall. I'm halfway done with it.
Okay. 4 encounters. Oh yeah, and sometimes I know 21st Hall is very non-generous in giving you the encounters you want.
Yeah, that might take a little bit. So Sanswinda, what were you up to this week?
Well, this week I leveled my burglar from level 55 to level 75. in 2 days.
Ouch.
And I'm tired.
Wow.
It was actually kind of fun.
I would say that you have to be as insane as a PhD student to do something like that.
That might be true. Well, so it started, I was going to get a minstrel from level 1 to level 75 in 3 weeks. But then things kept coming up, and things kept coming up, and things kept coming up, and she's level 20. And I was like, okay, I can get her from level 20 to level 75 this week. And I was like, no, I can't. I can't do that. And then it dawned on me on Thursday night, wait, I have a burglar at level 55. That's only 20 levels. I can do that in 2 days. So
No big deal.
So, yeah. It took me that long to think of it, but, well, also because I wasn't entirely sure that the burglar was the class I really wanted to be, at that level. But it worked. And I went through the Mirkwood intro instance again, on level, on my burglar, as I was passing. I'm still not very good at it. It is deadly.
A pain.
And painful. And I finished it in one attempt, if you don't count having to retreat and run back into the same instance as 2 attempts.
As long as it's the same instance.
But it was the same instance, and I got there just in time to save Fergam, or whatever the elf's name is, from dying.
Random elf number 4.
Yeah, random elf number 4 had about 100 morale left when I got back into the instance, and had everything beating on him, and barely had any morale left when I managed to finish killing everything. But it was done, and the elves all cheered, and I cheered, and I was like, yes, I'm finally going to quest Mirkwood. And then I remembered spiders, and decided I wasn't actually going to quest Mirkwood. And that was the end of my Mirkwood questing in the last 2 days. And, yeah, and I failed the Pelargir epic battle again at level 10. That, like, the winch that opens the door keeps burning. And then you fail. So, apparently,
Bad.
6 level 10, magically level 100 characters aren't particularly good at putting out fires.
So you mean just adding a 0 behind that 10 just doesn't make you powerful enough?
It just
really
doesn't.
didn't, no. But yeah, 2 tries and still no success. It was epic, though. An epic failure. For sure.
I hate that I missed that.
Oh. We can always do something like that again. Don't worry.
That's true.
Anyway, Arendis, how was your week?
Oh gosh, I had a lot of stuff going on this week. One of that was a midterm, so I really wasn't able to do much in game. So yeah. And also, Maven had to step out. Do you want me to go ahead and read her stuff?
Okay.
Yeah. Arinda's
Okay.
pretending to be Maven. How was your week?
Well, she wrote that she was on business travel, so she was in LOTRO withdrawal for most of the week, which I totally get. Glordriel finished all 30 lists of the scavenger hunt, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But she hasn't tried out her anniversary keg yet. And it says, ran Corey's Guardian Wigand on a speed run through the first 3 years of character lists, trying to get him a horseshoe before he finished up bingo. And I'm sorry, Brannick, my Maven impression is absolutely awful and would probably make Maven very sad. So we're not going to try to impersonate Maven. Sorry.
Now, I was with Maven during that particular run, and yeah, let's just say, wild getting all those people, seeing. I think that she was optimistic and hoping to get maybe 5 or 6 of those years through.
I'm honestly surprised that you guys managed 3.
Yeah, well, it was 12 Well, it started around 9, somewhere between 9 and 9. It was scheduled to start at 9:30, right?
It was
Something like
scheduled
that.
to start at 9:30, so it started at what, quarter to 10?
About a quarter to 10, right? And we
Yeah,
finally,
it was on time.
Yeah, and it finished. And it finished around 12:30. So about
Yeah,
1 hour
that's
per
probably about right. 1 hour per list.
1 hour per list, and that was just doing the character list, not
Yeah,
doing
having
the
run through
other.
stuff with Corey on Wiegand, I'm honestly surprised that it only took him an hour per list.
Now,
Well, I heard
was
them tell
interesting
him
there.
to keep telling him to stop looking.
Yeah. But what's happened is that there are a couple of points in there where what they would do is that they would have people go to various locations and he will send them an acorn and bring Corey there so as to speed everything up. Now, I have to be also doing them at the same time and unlock them at the same time, and I generally managed to keep up because while he was exploring and doing all sorts of architecture things, I was bumping into the ones that I couldn't do because they pushed Corey through with it, but through Acorn, and of course if he goes to someplace by Acorn, I can't go there myself. So so I had to so during Corey look time I was going to those other places, so I was able to keep up. But yeah, Corey trying to get through there as quickly as possible, and of course that means an hour per. Okay. Continue,
Well,
Raven?
quickly as possible is,
Yeah.
relative when you're talking about Corey.
Yeah. You got a point there. All right, I guess it's my turn now.
Yes, that was all
Yes.
Maven had.
All right, then I will say first of all is on my main Quick Hollow character, I managed to do as far into the anniversary as I'm able to do. I finished all the tales, all the travels. 9 of the trifles I have a feeling I'm not going to be able to do the raids or anything like this unless it's happen to be on and I see someone looking for a group to do trifles and all that stuff. I have a feeling they all did those 3 weeks ago, so most likely I'm not going to get that done. So I have 29 out of 30. And I think the main thing that you get is the keg for doing all 30.
Yes. Plus the dice that you get for completing the trifles lists.
Yeah, plus the dies for the trifles list. So I'm missing out on a couple of dies, plus I'm going to miss out on the keg thing. Right now, the only keg I have is the Moria keg.
But can't you run those raids at a low level?
But there are some of them I just can't. For the Watcher, I can't get far enough into the Watcher solo without in order for the Watcher's head to appear.
Oh. That's on Crick Hollow?
Yeah, it's Crick Hollow.
Alright, we'll have to set something up.
Yes. Okay. Maybe
I have a little Hunter Terry over there. We could do something.
Okay. Maybe we could find something in there. Because that's the only one I have left. But essentially that and the other one would, and things like the Rift, it's like, Rift takes time to run. Because Starlock, I presume, you can only find him at the end of the Rift, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of the anniversary... Oh, sorry, Pineleaf.
No, go on.
I was just going to ask, did they ever announce what we're doing with all these scraps of paper?
Yes, there is, and that's a good... I'm glad
in fact,
you brought that up.
that brings it up because that sort of fits in what I was just saying in there.
Your final scrap of paper is a key, which it's a key to help you decipher the other scraps of paper. There is a spoiler article on Department of Strategery, and I have the link somewhere.
Yes. And it essentially solves the thing, and yes.
So there's an additional riddle.
Oh, okay.
And
when you finish the riddle, you get a standing stone item for your house, which is the standing stone with like 3 floating stones above it, like the standing stone logo. It's really cool.
Oh, neat.
Yep, so therefore, I have that in front of my house now. In front of my bank vault, actually, not my private house. And then on my champion, I reached level city while Isengard was bidding 5. So you can see where I am at on the storyline there. And then I joined Anding in his latest minstrel leveling thing. He reached level 99, and he's trying his best to get to level 100 because he's hoping that when he hits, because he does not want to get a new weapon or new legendary items until he hits 100. So therefore, he's using way out of date weapons, and he's one of the minstrels, so it's not exactly a equipment heavy class. So therefore, he's trying to get to 100 so he can get a level 100 item and then not worry about having to do anything with it afterwards to just create his item and, of course, imbue it and all.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. I see you're on a legendary challenge right now, aren't you?
I'm done.
Oh, you're done.
Yep, my legendary challenge character made it to level 100.
Yay!
And I haven't really played her since, but she now has a legendary weapon.
Yep.
But yeah, she went all the way to 100 with no ally. And it was a minstrel also.
There's a minstrel also, yes, because there are some classes where it may be tougher for. We currently have 22 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious rate of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even be a guest with us for an episode of LOTRO Players News. This week we have a single featured comment from Bragg and Sans. What did Bragg say?
Bragg says, seems to me you missed the most obvious choice of all for Week 10 Anniversary Quests theme. The little dude that started it all, Master Baggins. I expect we will be collecting remembrances on a particularly remote island in Goblin Town, stopping by some statues in the Trollshaws, killing some spiders in Mirkwood, visiting some eagles in the Great River, etc. Cheers, Bragg of Villia.
Well,
and I made this a featured comment because he posted this comment on Wednesday.
Yeah. You know what's worse is that I know that for a couple of weeks and all this stuff, Baggins was the top of my list of what I said. I might even said it during one of my episodes on my YouTube series. But right, I plumb forgot it last week.
So I haven't done the scavenger stuff yet. I'm still stuck in the early stages, but was Bilbo the last one?
Yeah.
He was.
Nice.
And actually, we ran across Bragg while we were looking for stone trolls.
Yeah.
He's like, I told you so.
Yeah. That's it. Because you A, have to think of it, and B, more important of all, remember it.
But he had to go off his new Mordor outfit, which got 2 kegs up for me.
Nice.
Yeah. We also have an email, and Terry, could you please read this?
Yes. I want to open this with an apology. We actually got this email for last week's show, and I forgot to put it in the show notes. So, Trotter had written us to say, thanks for doing these episodes. I really enjoy listening to them. I would be interested in you talking about the scavenger hunts for the 10th anniversary after they have finished next week. I think Sanswinda's recent comment that she visited barrows I had never seen before to remember them applied to me as well. Was the purpose of the scavenger hunts to get you to revisit or to make you do content that you may not have done from the last 10 years of the game? As an example, you could not complete all the Week 8 quests unless you had finished Hootfold. And also, would love you to comment on the second horseshoe from Week 9. Now we have 2 horseshoes to keep. Thanks again for the show, Trotter. Incidentally, it's from a horse. They have 4 horseshoes. I want to know where the other 2 are.
Yeah, that's
I
what
want
we
to know
were
why I
wondering.
can't wear both of them in my pocket. I mean, surely I have more than one pocket.
Well, it's probably
saves
I've
your...
been making
have
my
more than one
own
pocket.
clothing. I'm sure I have multiple pockets.
Well, and not only that, but I mean, weren't we joking around one episode a couple of ones ago? Maybe it was for the update 20, where you have to do this one quest where you have to move these giant boulders in the new area from one place to another. If we're putting boulders in our pockets, we can put 2 horseshoes in the same pocket.
Totally.
I mean, they would both fit.
MMO logic. Yes, as for the thing about what the intent was, I think the primary intent was to revisit places you had gone before, but I think it was also primarily targeted to people who've been in the game longer.
Yes.
And so therefore, they would have likely to have visited many of these places before. But of course, you know that there's no way you can put in a piece of content that is not going to be attractive to all levels of players. As for the second... Oh yeah, I think we've already talked about the second horseshoe. The second horseshoe, I think, is just because there are a number of people who, when given a choice on getting a horseshoe or take something else, decided that the horseshoe was worthless, which, on the most part, it is, and of course, chose to decide to get a more practical reward on the matter. So now, of course, there are all these complaints. There was never another chance to get the horseshoe. You're forever locked out of it. So they decided to put in another opportunity to get a horseshoe. I think that's the entire purpose of that. There's never going to be a need to have more than one horseshoe. It's just so that, all right, fine. You want a horseshoe? Here's a horseshoe. Here's a way to get a horseshoe.
I have to say, every single character that I've taken through that series of quests has gotten the horseshoe. Because none of the other rewards were practical anyway, by the time I actually got to that point in the story, because I'm always overleveled and the gear doesn't apply.
Yes. If I remember correctly, it was a couple of legacies based on attributes, I believe, is what the reward was for this. And yeah, you very rarely used them anyway. I think I have 1 or 2 such things from other quests that are still sitting in my vault. So yeah, not exactly the most important of.
Well, the quest reward I'm never going to pick is anything to do with LIs.
True, and I think that's what your other choices were. So, yes, I think the entire point was to give you another opportunity to get it. Yeah, there is no great need to have a second horseshoe as far as I know, and just wait for Standing Stone to go and prove me completely wrong on that matter.
Now that you've said it, now they have to do it.
Right. But yeah, I think the entire reason, just to give it another opportunity. And yes, unless you finished, right, because some of them require you to have finished Hoot Boulder or anything like that. And yeah, if you don't. Well, fortunately, the rewards, for most of the rewards, you only have to do one of the 3 pads for that week.
Yes.
So it's not like you have to do all 3 of them unless you absolutely want that keg. And I'm not familiar. Is there anything awesome about that? I know it works like, I'm assuming it works like the Sinister keg or the Moria keg.
Yeah, it does.
But I don't know if there's anything greatly awesome that you get taken to if you use it.
No idea. I'm unlikely to get one. I don't know. We've got 4 more weeks, so we'll see. But I probably won't be getting one.
Same reason I won't be getting one? Or
I actually have not finished any of the deeds lists. Because for years 7 and 8, I didn't do the characters. I did something else.
Oh, okay. Ah, yes. I think I'll say you're boycotting dice. That's right. So there is still time, but as I said, they will be returning next year. And if you're a new player, just keep that in mind that it was not primarily for people who have been in the game for a little time. So therefore, if you can't do them this year, then get some great memories over the next year that you can go back through when you do the anniversary hunt next year. If you would like to send us an email, you can send it to podcast@lotroplayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance @PlayersAlliance, Lotro Players @LotroPlayers, Ariandis @Ariandis, Forte @Forte_Maestro, Maven @Tolkien Maven, Pineleaf @Pineleaf News, Senswinda @Senswinda, and Terry Edwin @Terry Edwin. The Players Alliance has 4 live shows every Monday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News. On the first and third Fridays at 11 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have XP Quest on the last Friday of each month at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have LOTRO Academy After School, and every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. And that is all for tonight, and this is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.